Hey, so here we are with another manga haul video. This is kind of a weird one. In February, there was a huge cyber attack on Indigo, which is like Canada's Barnes & Nobles, and that's where I purchased like 99% of my books, and for a while I wasn't able to receive or order anything online, which is kind of scary. And then in March, we had a huge buy two, get a third book free sale, which is pretty cool, and which you might know of if you watched my last video. Anyway, all to say, the last 2 months were a little chaotic in the manga department, some for better and some for worse, but we're back on track with a really fun haul. So with that being said, let's get into it. Before we get started though, I'd like to welcome you to MangAnalysis, where I do little videos about the manga I've been reading. If you like what you've seen and would like to see more, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Maybe even leave a comment. Let's get a conversation going.
Hello. So we're going to get right into it. So we're going to start with new series that I started with single volumes and then so on and so forth. So the first one I want to talk about today is Shouha Shoten Volume 1. This was actually a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be. So a long time ago, I read the first 3 chapters, I think, on the mobile app of the Shonen Jump, and I didn't really like it. I was a little disappointed. You know, my great Takeshi Obata drawing a comic about stand-up comedy was just not really my thing, not really what I was hoping for. So I didn't really have high hopes. This was mostly going to be like, oh, I'm going to add it for the sake of Takeshi Obata. Turns out I really enjoyed it. If you sort of forget that it's supposed to, I think, be a comedy and just take it as like not a psychological thriller, but it's very like the math and science behind making people laugh. It's actually really interesting and it's fun, and the characters so far are great. So really excited to continue the series, and that's a bonus because I wasn't at first, so good stuff. Next is the long-awaited for me Shujin X by Sui Shida, the mad lad who gave us Tokyo Ghoul. This was crazy. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. So at first I heard it might be like, you know, superhero quirks, and I guess it is that, but it's not like what you think. And it's really zany, it's really fun, it's funny, which is again not what I was expecting, knowing what, you know, what wreckage Tokyo Ghoul was. But very good. I highly recommend it. It had a really good first volume, really drew me in. I hope they delve a little deeper into the lore. Well, I'm sure they will, but like explanations on how their quirks or powers work, that left me a little bit mystified, and not necessarily in the best way. I had more annoying questions than like ooh questions. Yeah, anyways, Shujin X, very good. All right, so the next book is Hayashiman, book 1. So this series got canceled after 3 volumes, and I'm not gonna lie, I understand. I was severely disappointed in this volume. At this point, I'm gonna continue it just because I really liked Hell's Paradise. I want to support the author, and it's only 3 volumes. I thought this was not very good. Hell's Paradise was just excellent. The art was top notch. The art here is also very good, by the way, but it had like this callback to something that was done before, but it was really fresh. It was, the choreography of the fights was excellent. The characters were interesting. And this one so far offers none of that other than the really nice art. The main character is sort of like a One Punch Man sort of guy, very strong, looking for a fight, can pretty much end anything in one punch. However, there's no choreography. It's literally just like, and it's drawn pretty well like so. And I have no desire to know the main character at all, which is making me a little sad. And I'm really over the whole like strong main character, dumb brain trope. And that's kind of what he is so far. Like, at least, you know, like when you saw Naruto, like he's not really bright, but he had this really good fighting sense. He was intelligent in the battlefield. This guy so far is just, strong punch, go blam. So I'm not stoked, but I will continue it. This character though is really fun. I'm liking her, but most of the story so far has just been concentrated on this guy. So it'd be that way. It sucks to say, but if you just want to something small on your shelves, just say that you were part of something. This is a good one, I guess. Next up, we have Doomsday with My Dog. Okay, so I gotta say, this comic, this story, this book gave me a whirlwind of emotions. So as you can see, it's like these short stories told in 4 panels or 8 panels. This really caught me off guard because I was expecting something specific, I guess, like surviving doomsday with just my dog. Something completely different. Really fun. However, I didn't find it as funny as I was hoping it would be. And the whole thing is, it's a comedy, right? It's supposed to, and I think maybe 1 out of 3 of the little strips made me laugh. So based on that, I wasn't sure if I was going to continue it. However, the final chapter is told via traditional, comics, I guess. And it had such a profound impact on me. Like, I think about it like once every 2 days, It kind of made me want to continue, but the author said that he wasn't confirming whether or not the ending of this book is canon or not. And it might just be like a one-off or like a dream or whatever, or it could very well be what happened. So we don't know. And he's probably not going to do more of those types of stories. So I decided that I might keep this one actually as a one-shot. I'm not going to get rid of it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue the series yet. I might check out the second volume, but for me, as far as I'm concerned, Volume 1 ended so profoundly for me that I don't know that I want to soil that, but we'll see. We'll see. I really like the art, the characters are fun, and this little guy is a good boy. So, Mizuno and Shayama. Okay, so I had seen this in bookstores a couple of times along, I guess, the last year, I would say. And I was really drawn by the art. Then I found out it was a girl love story, and I like that, so I was like, maybe I'll pick it up one day. And then there was this big sale recently, I think you guys might have seen in my vlog video. And yeah, it was an excellent book. It was really, really good. It's a bit of a longer one. It's a one-shot. There is no continuation. This is what it is. The 2 characters are really compelling, really nice. Again, the art was fantastic, and it has this really nice atmosphere. Like, you can almost like imagine a soundtrack to this book, which I think is really special. And it's an easy recommendation if you like girl love, if you like just like drama, if you like small town, trying to get out of it kind of stories. It's pretty cool as well. Yeah, Mizuno and Shayama. So next we have a full series that I picked up, A School Frozen in Time. This is, okay, so this is drawn by the same person who did Your Lie in April, I think. I'm pretty sure. I just don't know if they also wrote Your Lie in April. So the first thing that you notice when you check this one out is that you can tell that this was one of the first stories they ever drew. The art is not bad, but it's very inconsistent. You're gonna have these beautiful frames, and then you're gonna have other frames that aren't as good, which is fine. I think the plot was really interesting. It offered a lot of really cool moments. I will say, it's not for everyone. There's lots of talks of self-harm and suicide and bullying and abuse, which is obviously not super great for everyone. And unfortunately, I think some of it was handled a little not as well as I wish it would have been handled. And the story was a little more predictable than I think. There was a really nice plot twist, but it was very sequential and very episodic in the sense that you could really, like, it was repetitious. So School Frozen in Time, I think, was a really good idea. I just don't necessarily think that its execution was the best. However, if you like a short story, 4 books, it's a really fun one, I guess, and it offers some pretty good moments. Some heavy topics, but well worth talking about. So, Sweat and Soap, the whole collection. So this kind of came out of nowhere. My partner and I were at a bookstore. She was like, I'm curious about the first volume. And so she bought the first 2 volumes. I really like them. And I was like, you're going to take 2 years to finish this. So I just bought the rest, which is pretty cool. So Sweat and Soap is a very cool, good little romance. It is, I think, kind of realistic. It depicts like an adult relationship, for 2 adults that have jobs and stuff. The one thing I will say, the whole premise is based around this guy having a really good sense of smell and her sweating a lot. And one day he runs into her at the office and he's like, oh my God, you smell so good. Please let me smell you. And he forces her like into a corner and just smells her, and she is mighty uncomfortable. And then he's like, we're gonna do this again because I need to smell you to develop soaps. So the whole relationship is essentially built around this guy forcing himself to smell her, and she's visibly super uncomfortable. So if you can get over the first book and how creepy it is and how whack it is, then you're great, because then they genuinely truly do build a very good relationship. Again, you got to get over the creepy smell thing. Yeah, no, it was quite good. Was it the best romance I've ever read? No, but I think it was one of the most realistic ones. You know, they talk about moving together, you know, getting married, getting an apartment, splitting chores, stuff like that. But like real conversations that I've had with my partner. And it had a really good ending, a really nice little... This is what I'm looking at, guys. Are you hot? You big hot dog? But yeah, it had a really nice little ending, a really nice little conclusion. I think I recommend it to people who like romance. It's kind of a different take on it, I guess. But yeah, just know that it starts weird and you need to power through it. So, all right, next up, some bulk buys. So here we have Asadora, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Asadora is awesome. I had mentioned that I think the first 2 books were not aimless, but were really taking their time developing. So as the traditional Urasawa fashion, if you imagine that these eventually will come out in like 1 volume, you could have said that the first perfect edition volume, 2-in-1, it would have taken that first full volume to establish the story. But now, you know, in book 6, we really know what's going on. We have a clear idea of what's happening. What I like so much about this series, though, is there's essentially like 3 plots happening all at once. And for the first 6 volumes, they're together but separate. And in the latest volume, they sort of all mix in together. And it's really satisfying. And it was done really well. There was lots of tension, and I'm really, really looking forward to number 7 of the series, which comes out October 17th, which is my birthday, but which is also in like 6 months. So that sucks, and I hate that. But it's the way she goes. So Asadora, very, very good. So finally, the last of my bulk buys. I went crazy on the 20th Century Boys. And the reason I went so crazy all of a sudden is because number 3 and 4 were out of stock for a long time. I managed to pick them up. They came back in stock. And then I got a little paranoid. I was like, what if book 5 goes out of stock soon? I picked up book 5 and 6. And then I was like, should I buy the next ones? And I was like, no, that's a lot. Relax. But if you've noticed, I was able to pick up these 2 at the bookstores during those sales, which is mighty awesome. So I got these ones for a little cheaper than I would have bought them online, which is great. So I haven't read any of these. I'm waiting until I have the entire series because I found the first volume to have a lot. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget anything between volumes. So I'm really excited. I only have 3 books left in the 20th Century Boys. I'm probably only going to buy the 21st Century Boys once I've read the whole thing. So yeah, so now we're going to move on to just single volumes, and I have a fair amount. I'm going to try to go fast. I say this all the time. Blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Okay, so Ladies on Top, number 2. So I had mentioned that number 1 was maybe not the best book. I think number 2 is taking a step in the right direction, but I think book 3 is going to have to, like, do a thing. I think it will. It's sort of going in that direction. I think if you accept that book 1 and 2 are just pretty well, like, establishing the characters and the roles. There's some drama with, like, an ex, which was good. I think it brought them closer together, and Buddy just wants to get pegged, and all the power to him, and she seems into it. So is it going to happen in book 3? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. So this came out of nowhere. This is Orange, To You Dear One, which is the 7th and final volume forever, apparently, of the series Orange. So book 1 to 5 came out a long time ago, and that series means a lot to me. It was a really good series. And then the 6th book came out, which was like the future, I guess. So what happens later on. And this is like a collection of short stories, pretty well, of like the characters talking before the future book, I guess. Super good. I'm really glad. This was a really, like, the future book was good, but I don't think it was as, it didn't offer the conclusion that I wanted. And then this one sort of adds just a little bit more, and it kind of solves the issue that I had with the future volume, I guess. Very good. There's an anime out. If you don't want to read all the books, you can check out the anime. It's quite good. Yeah, Orange finally over, and I'm really happy for it. Rent a Girlfriend 17. Okay, listen, The Descent, the series for me. I'm not gonna talk about it every time. The thing is, it's not a comedy anymore. It's not funny. It's actually sad now and upsetting, and I don't know. I think it succeeded as a comedy, and I think it's kind of failing as a drama. It's just the characters are not strong enough to fill the void. I'll keep it up for a while, and eventually I think something's gonna have to give, but whatever. Rent a Girlfriend 17. Alice in Borderland 5. So this is actually one of my favorite series at the moment, and volume 5, okay, everything in it was awesome, except, so in pretty well almost all of the Alice in Borderland volumes, they have these bonus chapters which either focus on characters that we like and give a little bit more context as to who they are, how they came here, what they've done since coming to Borderland, or they'll focus on other random characters that we'll never see again probably, but they just like develop the world a little bit. Usually there's only one, and this book had 2. The problem with that is the actual, like, what was happening was awesome, and I really, really wanted more of it, but then I kept getting interrupted by these short stories, which is nice, but at the same time, I just kind of wanted to know what was gonna happen in the story, so I was left a little disappointed. No spoilers, but they're in the game right now, and I was really hoping that the game would conclude in this book, and it didn't, so a little bit upset, but, so hopefully number 6 only has like 1 short story. Just give me more plot, bro. I like the context and the side stories, but, you know, I want to know what's going on. Blue Lock, number 5. This was sick. This was a really good book. So they've entered, no spoilers, but at the end of this, they enter like the next arc, I guess, which kind of got spoiled for me from the anime, like clips on YouTube and Facebook and Reels. But it's fine. I don't really know what happens. I just knew that something was going to change, and now I'm at that change, so it's all good. Blue Lock is very consistent, very good. If you like soccer, if you don't like soccer, if you like sports, if you don't like sports, if you just like a good old shonen, this is good stuff. Zom 100, number 9. So this book was excellent because, so what's cool about Zom is that every book there's a little bit of a different theme almost, and some of those themes bleed into one book, into another book. So a few books ago, you know, you had your first real antagonist, and then sometimes they add a party member. And this one did something really different, and I'm not gonna say it, but this was a really good book. This was fresh, it felt really nice, and it's such a silly story with no stakes that they need to shake things up, and they keep doing it. They're not stagnating, and that's really good. So, Drifting Dragons number 12. Oh my god, it had been so long since we got Drifting Dragons, and this is excellent. Really good book. Something really cool happened. The last book, it's almost like they set you up for something, and then you really believe that this something is going to happen. And does it happen? I'm not going to tell you, but it was really good. It was a nice little plot twist. Well, I don't know. I guess it's not really a plot twist, but a good little thing happens in this book, and I thought it was really nice. So, Drifting Dragons continuing. And the next books seem to be coming out, not, 7 months from one another. So that's good. So they're back to a semi-regular schedule, I guess. And that's all I could hope for, baby. Another series that hadn't had a new book in its series is The Way of the House Husband. And it's so good to see these characters interact again. This was really, really fun. Really good stuff. And it's fun because no matter how long it takes for a new book to come out, you get right back into it. You're not feeling like you're forgetting anything because there isn't really a plot. It's just episodic and it's beautiful. And I'm hoping that they come back on a regular schedule, but if they don't, they don't. And that's just the way she goes. So I'm all here for it. Way of the House Husband. Call of the Night, number 11. I knew that. This was sick. So the last 2 books, I think, have really been delivering the smackdowns and the development and the plot. And this is just the best. It's a really good series. They bring back a character we haven't seen in a bit. Actually, a few. And it just feels natural. It feels good. It feels right. And Call of the Night, man, it's one of those things that I started last year that I'm really thankful I did. They were out of stock for so long, and this is beautiful. And it makes my life a little better. My Hero Academia, 33. Yes. So I had mentioned that the last book, I think, was like the best book. This book was not better than the last book, but it was still very good. It got a little hammy. It had this moment that I think, we've been hoping for since volume 1 between 2 characters that I won't say. And it finally happened, and I think the timing was weird. Like, it felt forced given the situation. So I don't know. It was excellent. It was good. I liked it. But I think I had all this hype around it that it was going to be something a little cooler. And it was just very cool. Just not like the coolest. Especially coming after the last volume. So, but man, My Hero Academia though. It was going like this. And then, but then it's still going up. It's still going up. Comey Can't Communicate, number 23. I'm just going to say this. Best book in the series. Okay? That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I have been so excited to say this to the camera since I read this book, which was like a while ago, I guess. I think it came out early February. I don't remember. My heart is full. And that's all I'm going to say. Jujutsu Kaisen, number 19. Again, it's hard to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen because it's very consistent, it's very good, but a lot happens, and a lot of it is like fighting based, right? Because it's, just a good old action romp of a shonen. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, there was character development, bro. Oh my god, the plot is thickening, bro. It's like, nah, man. Itadori just punched the guy and it was sick. But I will say, the art style is becoming more and more like expressionistic. It's becoming more abstract, an impression, if you will. And it reminds me a lot of what Haikyuu became over the years. Like, it was this like super polished like manga to this really fast expression based brush style. And I really like it. And it worked really well in Haikyuu, and it's working super well in this one. A lot of the fighting scenes feel very fluid. They feel really fast because you can tell that they were drawn fast with quick motion. Sometimes some panels are left a little bit in the dust because of it, but the panels that really hit really hard. So, Jujutsu Kaisen, baby. I can't even say we're almost done because there's like a fair amount of books left, but thank you for sticking around, guys. The Ancient Magus' Bride 17. Yo! I think the second season of the anime is coming out. I have like absolutely no interest in watching it because I've got these, baby. But yeah, again, this is another series that like between 15 and 16 was, I think, like almost a year. So having 17 come out a few months after 16 is awesome. I didn't feel as lost. I didn't feel as confused. And that's great. Actually, that's not true. I did feel kind of confused because a lot of things happen in this book that aren't super well explained, and some of it was not communicated as well as I wish it was. But I think, when you grasp the overall plot or what's going on. It's good. It's a good time. Again, though, this is one of those series that I'm sort of like looking at like, are you ending soon? Are you almost done? You better be. Because, like, I don't know what else can happen. You know what I mean? Like, finish this arc and call it a day. Like, don't put her through Hogwarts or something. You know what I mean? So, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, number 6. So, I just found out recently that this series ended in Japan with 12 books. I believe it ended well. Like, it's not like, oh, it ended because it got canceled, mate. I think it's just like, no, it ended. So, that's good. I'm halfway done. I love a series that doesn't overstay its welcome, and I'm loving everything that happens in these stories, man. Oh, actually, a fun thing about this series is that it includes the one-shot, like the pilot, and it was a very good pilot. Very good stuff. Crazy Food Truck, number 3, the book that ends the series. I don't know what to say. It was... I think it ended the way it started. Pretty good. I'm happy it was only 3 books. I don't think this needed to be any longer. The characters offered little to no development, but they didn't really need to, as long as you got the feeling that their bond grew. That's all you really needed. It had a pretty good ending. I don't have any questions, which is nice. Crazy Food Truck, if you want a very short story that offers a man who likes to cook, a girl that's almost always naked for comic relief, which is not my favorite thing, and some okay art, this is sick. Flying Witch 11. Okay, so this is one series where the books keep coming and they don't stop coming and they don't. This is one series where like there's such a big distance in between each book, and there is some plot, so sometimes they'll bring back a character and I'm like, I literally don't know who this is. And they're like, it's Skimp. You don't remember Skimp? They were in volume 2 like 6 years ago. So, but it's good. It's really funny, it's really entertaining, and very low stakes still. So Flying Witch, even though, you know, it might not be coming out as often as I wish it did, I'm still enjoying it, and that's good. Spy Family, number 9. Very good book. So this one started off like as a very hard continuation of the last book. I feel which doesn't happen too often in this one. The arcs are, I suppose, are kept kind of short, and this one was a pretty bigger one, like a long one, and it was fun. And then it was really serious, so then it like kind of like the next half of the book sort of, it was the back to the short, you know, one episodic chapter stories, which were really funny and really good. And it ends on actually kind of a cliffhanger, as in they introduce a new character and kind of get the feeling that she's going to be around for a bit and she's kind of hardcore. So Spy Family number 9, great book. Children of the Whales 21. I'm going to be super honest with you. I have no idea what's going on. This got mad confusing. Okay, so if you've read this, you know that a lot of the magic is just like these swirly things. And then it slowly got to the point where like the swirly things became like a metaphor, and everything was just the swirly things, and the swirly things became more swirly things. And then like everything just became weird in a metaphor, and there was so much exposition dump, and they were citing these characters that I hadn't seen or heard of in a while. So I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to wait till 22 and 23 come out, and I'm just going to reread like book 15 to 23. I'm not as into this series as I used to be, but it's finishing in 2 volumes, and I think it deserves the respect of me actually making an effort to care about its ending. So yeah, I'm gonna wait till it's done, and I'm gonna reread the last like 6 volumes or 8 volumes or so, just to, you know, give it a proper send-off, and then I'll have some words to say about it at that point. But yeah, this was mad confusing. No idea what was going on. It almost made me feel like, did I truly read 22? And then I did. I looked back and I was like, no, I've seen this. It's like they just keep piling stuff on, and it's like, it feels directionless, and it feels like Buddy is just adding and inventing stuff as he goes. So, oh, and the characters go into these weird monologues all the time. Like, stop. Just tell me tell me what's up, bro. You know what? One book was not confusing and absolutely enjoyable. Golden Kamuy 28. 3 books, man. It's ending at 31. This was insane. Actually, this was particularly awesome. It deals into the past. It did this really cool thing where it tied our main character to another character in a way you would have never have expected. And it does like a full circle. And it's like one of the most pleasurable things. And it mixes in this other character that, like, again, you wouldn't think ever mixed. It was awesome. It was really, really good. And it makes me think now that the story is a lot deeper than I thought it was. Like, sometimes you read a story and you're like, okay, this guy's like writing it as he goes, whatever. But no, you're reading this and you're like, oh man, it's almost like he planned this entire thing out since volume 1, which is awesome. So, Golden Kamuy. The Hunters Guild Red Hood, number 2. So, as opposed to a Yashiman, I'm still at book 2, and I'm still, like, flummox/sad that this is ending at book 3. I definitely noticed some places where it was rushed a bit. A lot of the things sort of almost happen off screen, which is a little atypical for a shonen. Typically, like, you'll have the whole training montage, which is like a proper arc or whatever. And they kind of just skip over this and go right into the tournament arc, if you will, or like the Chunin exam. And it's really fun. It's really good. And I'm really enjoying the characters. And even by the end of this book, they were still introducing things. And it makes me sad to know that I only have a few chapters left, but really excited about this. I really hope the author comes out with something else, soon, because I'd like to support him. So, Tokyo Revengers, 7/8/4th big volume. Okay, so this was the first volume I think I read where I was kind of like, truly, this is silly. So I kept saying the last 3 volumes, I was like, wow, this is silly, but it's great. Oh my gosh. Whoa, Tokyo Revengers. And this one was kind of dumb. I mean that with some affection. One of my biggest qualms with the series is how everything is taken so seriously. And it's like, why? Like, you guys are kids, man. Like, go home, play a video game. And yeah, it's just bizarre. Like, people are dying, they're kids, doesn't make sense. I don't know. So, I think this is, stuff like this is going to be, I'm expecting more of it. So, I'm not disappointed. It wasn't a letdown. It was like, wow. Again, it doesn't make sense that all this is happening because you guys are like 13 or 14 or whatever. But, like, go home, man. Take a shower, watch some hentai, play Dragon Quest, and go to bed, bro. Like, you don't need to do this. Like, everything that happens in this book is unnecessary and doesn't make sense. And I wanted to finish this on a positive note. Blue Box, number 3. Okay, so this is mad good. Book 1, hey, this is okay. Book 2, wow, this is very good. Book 3, brother, this is sick. Yeah, this was unexpected. Some things happened in this book that I didn't see coming. I should have, I guess. But no, I didn't. I didn't, because I was kind of like, oh yeah, it is a sports manga, but it's romance and blah, blah, blah. But no, man, they went like the Haikyuu route and gave you that bitter sports pill that you wanted. And I'm like, whoa. So yeah, Blue Box, very, very good. Very excited to continue it. And that's it. That's all I've got. So let's go to that sweet conclusion that I recorded not here.
Well, that was my February and March manga haul. Now I'd like to hear from you. What have you added to your shelves in the last few months? Were you affected by any cyber attacks in your area? Let me know in the comments down below, for I'd love to know. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you did indeed enjoy it, consider subscribing. This was MangAnalysis, and I'll see you in the next one.